whispers in my ear that I can't hear my voice. Tell me, will it end the situation that I'm in? Or am I bound to sit alone, drowning in my sin? Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the streets. People need to know we're living in a war zone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Daryl, and we're doing something different this week. Guys, I'm doing a lot of traveling this week. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a lot of traveling over the next couple months. So this might not be the last time you get what I'm going to call a mobile episode. That's right. Long stretches on the road, random thoughts about video games. Guys, I bought myself a little microphone to hook up to my whatnot / spare iPhone. Hoping this doesn't sound too much like trash, but I know that a lot of my sit down and recording time is going to be eaten up by being on the road the next few weeks. So here we go. We're going to jump into this week's episode. I guess if anything crazy happens, it'll be on recording. So let's just hope that Resident Daryl doesn't wind up dead. Guys, I want to give a shout out and a special thank you to all of the patrons. Guys, appreciate you so much. To our producers, MZ and JT, That One Seagull, the commish. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for sticking with us. All of our other patrons, thank you guys for sticking with us. Check it out. Been playing around with some stuff in the back end of the podcast. I did get locked out for about a week. And I think I have my mind made up on how I'm going to do things moving forward and save myself an absolute crap ton of rendering time. So this is going to hopefully work out great. We will see. But maybe by this time next week, so on the next episode, I'll have the update live, ready to go. But playing around with a new way to host and distribute the podcast to where it goes to a YouTube feed as well without having to do multiple variations of editing. I know a lot of you guys like to just listen to the podcast on YouTube, and I really hate that I haven't been able to accommodate that over the past few months. Trying to manage 2 YouTube channels is too much, absolutely too much. The amount of content that I create in a month's time with the short amount of time I have available definitely makes things a little bit difficult. And so I had to just eliminate something. So rendering a video, uploading it to a second YouTube channel was that. I've been playing around with this option of using my RSS feed to populate straight to my Resident Daryl YouTube channel, which, by the way, new videos are live. Some amazing shorts. I'm not a huge shorts person. I'm not a huge reels person. But my daughter has done a wonderful job editing some of our most recent shorts. So guys, if you would be so kind, go check out Resident Daryl on YouTube. Subscribe if you like it, but even if you don't, check out the shorts. My daughter and I have had a blast making those together. We have a couple different series running on YouTube. We have the Xbox 360 collection series, where we're collecting 360 Xbox 360 video games for the series. We're still doing our PS3, PSP, and PS Vita collection. Over 550 games in the PS3 collection since we started on YouTube, so that's been going really well. And man, goodness, we got the Connect Adventures Crusade. We're almost to an end on that one, so we are within roughly 100 subscribers to 1,000, and then that one will be that'll be done. That'll be ready to go. We'll destroy all those copies of Connect Adventures. And then everyone who didn't get rid of theirs, everyone who didn't send theirs off to us, it will increase in value for sure. Even if it doesn't, we'll say it did. So, all that being said, guys, we are going to toast to our patrons. Thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for checking out Resident Daryl on YouTube. So here we go. A lot has happened since the last episode of Loot Bros Podcast. Guys, we had the Pick and Preacher on. We had an absolute blast with him. Before that, we had Tricky Mick. So we've had a couple guests recently. Before that, we had Gareth on talking the annual Rarity Report. Big shout out to Gareth. Guys, if you're not in the annual rarity trophy event. You should get into it. It's a lot of fun. Man, those Waldrons are kicking major butt right now. Big shout out to Rick and James for just turning it to high gear, kicking it into high gear and really kicking some major butt in the competition. I believe both of those guys were like first in their division, or at least in score this past week. So be sure to check that out. Really, really good stuff there. So super thrilled to see what the back half of this year looks like. But yeah, we've had a lot of good stuff on the show recently. And so now it's time to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in games, talk about some of the pickups, some of the bolos, the things to be on the lookout for. But first, we're going to get into the games that we are playing right now, balancing between WWE 2K23 and WWE 2K24. Having an absolute blast with that. Shout out to Jared, friend of the show. He and I have been messaging back and forth about the WWE 2K23. And I decided to jump in, play through a bunch of stuff in there. I played through the John Cena mode. Guys, as far as the WWE game goes, this is the first one I've seen where you actually you follow a main character in a storyline, but you focus on all the times that they lost. You don't focus on all the times that they won, overcome the odds, and what have you. It's all about the times that John Cena lost. And that's actually a really cool way to go through and play the game, and really cool way to go through and experience his story. You get to be a multitude of different characters that all beat John Cena. And they did highlight AJ Styles coming over to the WWE and having a run where his slogan was beat up John Cena. That was really cool. I love that run. But yes, absolutely awesome. Really enjoy the game. Can't recommend it enough. I'm doing the faction mode right now, which is their online card-based mode. It's not very easy. Your base cards kind of suck. So even if you're good at the game, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I have never really focused on a faction mode. I've always disliked playing the online stuff. But right now, I'm playing through faction mode, and so far, I'm enjoying myself. I finally got some, what they call diamond cards, some good cards that actually will kind of help you. It really makes a difference. The cards you have makes a difference. So I'm playing through faction mode right now and enjoying it. Just kind of chipping away at 2024, not really too deep into it. But I got one on my PS5, one on my PS4 in different parts of the house so that me and the kids can play wrestling no matter where we're at. Next up on the list of games that I've been playing is what they would call a boomer shooter. It is a fast-paced first-person shooter in the vein of like a Quake, a Doom, and a Duke Nukem. This one is called Postal Brain Damage, and it is essentially a fast-paced comedic FPS. Kind of interesting. It's very Duke Nukem in the sense that the character makes a lot of jokes, makes a lot of there's a lot of inappropriate wiener joke things happening in there. It's not love. I don't hate it, but it's definitely one of those games that I don't know. I enjoy playing it, but it controls so fast and loose that I don't know. Sometimes these super fast-paced FPS games are kind of annoying. I don't know the best way to put it, other than I just don't love it. I'm having a fun enough time to continue, but there's certain aspects of the game where I'm just like, I guess anytime I want to be super accurate or try to actually shoot somebody with any meaningful, like just instead of spraying and praying. Also, it's kind of one of those games where the novelty on the wiener joke has worn off because it's just so much. But the gore is fun. The fast-paced nature of it's pretty cool. I believe the story so far is my guy just wants his TV back. It's kind of, I don't know. Overall, not a terrible game. I believe I got it on sale for like $3 or $4 a year or two ago. I don't really remember. I kind of went through a phase where I was picking up all these boomer shooters in hopes that I was going to like get good at them. And I don't think I'm actually getting good at them. I think I'm getting worse at them. But nevertheless, playing through it, somewhat enjoying myself. You know, it's one of those things where every now and again you just got to play something a little mindless. And that's kind of what this is. It's technically the same thing with the wrestling games. I'm playing through them while I'm watching. My daughter and I are marathoning through the X-Files. So none of them really require a ton of my mental brain power. And so like I've already seen the first 5 seasons of the X-Files, some of them multiple times. So my daughter hadn't seen them. We started over on season 1. And so for most of these episodes, I've already seen it, or I've even watched it again recently. And I'm on my 3rd or 4th run of them. So I'm playing through these games on the Portal. By the way, guys, Portal update. This thing still rocks. It is still really good. Freaking love the Portal. I love the Portal. It is the, I miss 90-95% of the way I play now. I mean, I guess it has been since it came out, but I still can't recommend it enough. Now, again, I don't take it out of the house and use it. I just use it while I'm watching TV. I use it while I'm laying in bed. And it's awesome. This thing is super sweet. And I really, 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 really love the Portal. So I think you guys, if you're on the fence about getting one, again, use case specific. If someone, or like, let's say you got young kids or your wife or whatever, or you just like sports, you like movies, you like multitasking, whatever. If the main TV is going to be occupied, use the Portal. It's a very, very excellent experience streaming your PS5 to this specific device. And as for like me, like my kids and I are watching, an 11 season series, and most of the seasons have 20 to 24 episodes each. So, and they're 45 minutes or more longer. So we got a long ways to go through X-Files, which I'm down for. So lots of Portal time happening in my life, that is for sure. So all that being said, guys, that's really the 3 main games I've been playing this week. I can't think of anything I jumped into and really made any progress on. A little bit of Brotato, but a lot of that is more so myself and Noah just passing the controller. Me failing miserably constantly, and him actually succeeding and getting us through different levels and unlocking a bunch of different stuff. So it does blow my mind that Brotato's platinum rate is over 50%, when I think that game is heavily RNG based. It is luck dependent and hard as nails. I just can't. I stand by the fact that game is difficult, and I'm trash at it. So all that being said, guys, those are the games that I've been playing. Not too much, really not too much going on the game side. Lots of hours in it, but just, not really playing a diverse swath of things right now. Although I am getting ready to go back through another playthrough of Alone in the Dark, because that game is freaking awesome. Really, really like that game. Check out the deep dive that will go live this week. Excellent game. So I guess in the order of films and TV and things I already said I'm watching X-Files. That's really it. I think we actually watched the Fight for the Future X-Files film the other day. That was really good. I have watched a few really crappy films that I didn't like. I haven't updated my letterbox on them yet. Matter of fact, actually, no, let me back it up. The more I'm thinking about it, I do have one other film. I'll bookend it with that one. That's really good. So I watched X-Files Fight for the Future with my daughter. That was really good. It takes place between seasons 5 and 6, if I remember correctly. And we jumped into season 6. As a matter of fact, I was watching this independently, and then my daughter jumped in on season 6, and that's what prompted us to decide to go back and watch everything from the beginning. Because I was watching X-Files Fight for the Future. She comes in, watches it with me, really enjoys it. We jump into season 6 of X-Files. Not my favorite season. Lots of weird stuff going on in there. So she jumps, and she's like watching it with me, and she's like, can we go to the beginning? I'm like, yeah, let's start over. So we start everything over. We're on episode 7 or 8 of season 1. And I've also been watching season 2 independently, because season 2 is my favorite of the first 6 seasons. And so I've been all over the place with X-Files. Just, it's always kind of on in the background while I'm doing stuff. So she and I have been watching that. Fight for the Future is really, really excellent. I may or may not have put that on my letterbox list for this year, but that's a really good one. From there, I watched The Curse of the Komodo, which is like a B movie, maybe even a C movie. It sucked. My morning routines, I've tried to change and really incorporate a lot more exercise. Past couple weeks, I've been getting up in the morning and hitting the gym. And I have my beats on and I'm blaring music. That's keeps me going, keeps me pumped, keeps my heart beating. Because if not, it would quit and I would die. But definitely listen to music. And I just recently picked up a pair of Beats, and they're awesome. So it really makes a huge difference during the workouts. But I have a TV in there with a Blu-ray player hooked up. So as I'm going through all these movies that we've bought from all of our whatnot deals and stuff, I like just put one in, and it's like, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it sucks, whatever. But I'm not listening to them. I'm just watching them. It's something on in the background for me to focus my attention on, because I don't want to watch a movie and listen to a movie while I'm working out. That's not going to push me. That doesn't feel very intense. So what I'm doing is I'm having a movie on and I'm listening to music, and if the movie catches my attention, I'll set it to the side and actually watch it and pay attention to it. For the most part, that hasn't been the case. Okay, here's a couple movies that I've put in that I just thought were absolute abysmal trash. Curse of the Komodo. I put it in. It's a B movie. It's something I know I'm not going to want to pay attention to. But on the off chance that it's a good, cool looking horror film, I'll set it in the stack of things to watch. Nope, it's exactly what I thought it was. It's crap. And so I just let it play through over the course of 2 workouts. And not a good film. Not a good film at all. Next up is one called The Theta Girl. Thea Girl. The Thea Girl. I can't remember if there's a T in there or not. Either way, this one was sold to me locally in a bundle. And I was told that this is one of those, not mass produced. It's a short run of gore horror films. And this one is it's actually filmed by a group in Columbia, South Carolina. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. I had 0 expectations and really didn't know what it was going to be. I put this film in, and it's a Blu-ray, and I've got it on while I'm working out one morning, and it looks terrible. I'm like, okay, it is, super gory, so it definitely appeals to there's certain people who like those underground horror films. Lots of nudity in it. I wasn't really digging that. I actually think I turned it off at a certain point in time just because it was gratuitous. I was like, I'm not feeling this. So put that in, tried it out. That one's not staying in the collection, nor is it warranting an actual proper watch. So that one is actually going to go in the eBay pile because it actually holds some value. On eBay, it's a $30 to $40 sold film, but I think it's just because it's a limited release, low print, and that gratuitous gore that has its audience for sure. Not me. That's not me. I used to really be in that kind of stuff. Not anymore. Next up, I put in Expendables. I was thinking, you know what, some heavy metal and some good action. Expendables is great. Those are great movies. But that's not the one I wanted to end cap it with. The one I wanted to end cap it with was actually one that I watched about a week or so ago, and then was like, man, I love this art style so much. I forgot how much I love this art style, and that is Sin City. Man, I watched Sin City, and it was awesome. I actually, what got me thinking about it was there's a death metal or deathcore song from back in the day. I think about Despised Icon, so I guess that'd be death metal. And there is a sample back in the day, guys, early 2000s, when all these heavy death and thrash bands were really getting popular again. Putting movie quotes into your song was like the way to do it. That was the thing. And so what people would do is they would pull a movie quote in and they'd start a song, or they'd have a song going, and then right before like a huge nasty breakdown, they would put a movie quote. There's a Sin City quote where it's like a gunshot, and it says, worth dying for, another gunshot. Worth killing for, another gunshot. Worth going to hell for. And then the song starts. And I was like, man, I think that's from Sin City. I don't remember what prompted the memory, but I was like, I need to put in Sin City. I haven't seen that since it first came out in the theaters. So I put it in. Actually, I watched it properly and was like, man, I love this art style. I can't believe this. I can't believe I wasn't as into this back in the day when it came out as I am now. Like, this is awesome. And another thing that got me thinking about it, and this is going to kind of spill into one of my pickups, is I had a big Blu-ray DVD lot that I bought off of a guy not too long ago. And in it was I don't say every version, but it was several versions of Sin City and Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. Steelbooks, collector sets, individual versions, and Blu-ray, DVD, like a whole nine, multiple different sets. One of them actually has the Sin City Frank Miller graphic novel packed in with it. So it was one of those things where I sat to the side. I was like, oh, I need to revisit this. I don't remember loving it whenever I watched it the first time. Upon revisiting it and rewatching it, so freaking good. I could watch 100 movies in that art style. That black and white, super unique, super interesting art style where the only time there's color popped in is when they really want you to emphasize something. There's actually a Wolverine black, white, and red comic book series, and I believe there's a Deadpool one too, that I would love to see something in this vein. So while I'm working out, I was like, I just recently watched it. I was like, let me just throw that on. I had it down there to file it away on my collection, and I put it in, and it just is so cool. So cool. If you've never seen Sin City, definitely check it out. It's over the top. It's a little gratuitous in some spots too. But man, it is just a cool film. And I pulled Spirit out next. I don't know how they're related outside of, I think they're directed by the same people. I've never seen Spirit before. So that one is coming up, and hopefully next week I'll have some opinions on that one. In the order of pickups, I picked up a lot of stuff. And actually, in between recordings, I picked up some really cool stuff. So we're going to jump into some of the pickups for this week. There was an estate sale that popped up on Facebook Marketplace. This particular person, she was like, hey, I'm sold my mom's house, just kind of cleaning this thing out over the next course of a day or two. And I was like, sure, I'll go by there. Actually, I messaged her. I was like, hey, you got any video games? She said, yeah. So I was like, I'll swing by there and check them out. I get there, and it's a bunch of common stuff, but there were a couple of really good ones in there. I say really good, like loosely. There was one really good one. There was a couple of them that we needed for our Xbox 360 series that we're doing on YouTube, on the Resident Daryl YouTube channel. It is a series, if you're not familiar with it, where we're collecting 360 Xbox 360 games. And so far, I think we're like 60, 70 games deep into it. But picked up Transformers War for Cybertron, which is like a $45 or $50 game. And that was really the reason to even get up and go. And then next up on the list was a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which we pick up all the time, but at the time we started this particular series, we didn't have one. So we picked that one up. That one's going to go into the collection. We got a Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 for the collection. That's another good one. And then we also just recently picked up a Nintendo Wii bundle that came with a couple games, a racing game I'm not too familiar with, and honestly, it's not in front of me, so it's not Forza, but it's another racing game. And then we picked up Condemned on the Xbox 360, but it's a Platinum Hits. It's in excellent condition. So we picked all that up for $35. So not too bad. Not too bad. So not a bad little day. We'll test out the Nintendo Wii, see if it works. And hopefully we should be good to go on that one. So as for pickups goes, we still have not picked up any seasons of the X-Files. Our goal was to pick up every season of the X-Files. Haven't found any of those. Hadn't really picked up anything in our Blu-ray DVD collection that we're really looking for. We just did a huge buyout on hundreds of pieces of media, DVDs, Blu-rays, and a stack of games. But I think there's a couple sports games we kept for the PS3 out of there that weren't in our collection yet. Other than that, nothing too crazy. I think we kept National Treasure 1 and 2 on Blu-ray just because we didn't have them on Blu-ray. We own them digitally on Vudu, but we didn't have them on Blu-ray, so we added those to the collection. But yeah, not too bad. Realistically, these video game pickups that we picked up most recently are probably the better as far as collecting goes for our stuff. So all that being said, let's jump into this week's official topic and let's get into the nitty-gritty, the real important stuff. Guys, it's been a crazy week as far as video game news goes. There's so much to talk about. And this is not a news show. You guys know this is not a news show. But there's a couple things happening right now that are totally worthy of throwing some opinions out there. Some of which are celebratory, some of which are concerning. All of which I think you can pretty much say you saw or you heard it here at some point in time. So right now we've got some, let's start with PlayStation. We got a leadership change in PlayStation, change of regime. Good old franchise worldwide, Jimmy Ryan, he who makes us whole, has retired. And Hiroki Totoki Literature Club came in and was the interim CEO of PlayStation until the new leadership has been named. And yes, that's right, it's there. Herman Holst has been promoted to co-CEO of PlayStation, and I can't even remember the other guy's name, and I am not looking at the article right now. Doesn't matter. They're splitting the duties. This other gentleman, he has always kind of been over the hardware and services side of things. Herman Holst is going to be over the portfolio and, PlayStation Studios, things of that nature. That's right, Matt. You were correct. Resident Daryl was going to come out here and say it took two men to fill Jimmy Ryan's shoes. I stand by it. Jimmy Ryan was good for us. He was good to us. Jimmy Ryan launched the most successful hardware console launch in history under the most extenuating circumstances. That's right. During COVID, from his kitchen, he made it happen. And Sony's most recent financial reports just came out. And the PlayStation 5 is within 1 million units of the PS4 in its respected point in time of its life cycle. That's right. At this point in time in the PS4 generation, PS5 has tracked to be on par within 1 million units of the PS4. What does that mean? Is that good? Yeah, that's amazing. The PlayStation 4 is one of the best-selling consoles of all time, blowing the competition out of the water. That's right. Sorry, Xbox fans. I hate that for you. I really do. That's right. PS4 was one of the most dominant consoles of all time, right? So what does that mean? PS5 is going to go down in history as also one of the most dominant consoles. But there's a little bit of an asterisk with the PS5. Let's just be real with it, okay? The PS5 came out during COVID, one of the hardest times to launch a console, and one of the hardest times to launch anything that involves mass production, let's be honest, okay? Not only did it launch during that time and it has managed to catch up and stay on par with its predecessor, but it had a big scarcity problem. It was getting gobbled up, hard to get them in circulation. So during a manufacturing crisis, it managed to stay on par with its predecessor back when it was easier to get them out and easier to pick them up. On top of that, it was more expensive. $100 more expensive per console unit. That's pretty wild, guys. That is really, really good stats in a market that was really, really up and down. And I would argue this is the first time we've ever had a split generation where the bulk of the first-party exclusives were also on previous hardware. Sure, there's cases where these games, other games have come out and have had multiple versions, multiple generation versions, but for the most part, we've never experienced a console generation where 4 years into it, we're still getting PS4 versions of PS5 games or, previous versions of it. So there's something to be said about that, because you could argue you don't need a PS5, right? We've even heard our former co-host of the show, Mr. TMNT84, argue that you don't need a PS5. Now, I think you do. I think the PS5 is a wonderful machine with an amazing controller and, of course, the PS Portal, the most important piece of hardware you can have as far as modern generations are concerned. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty crazy. So that's pretty awesome. So Jimmy Ryan definitely needed two men to fill his shoes. And we'll see what happens. Herman Holst is constantly getting more and more power. So someone referred to him on a podcast the other day as the incredible Herman Holst. So I like that. We'll see what happens. I ain't mad at it. If I think that I would love Shuhei to be a more prominent character. I've always liked him. He's always been a real likable guy. I don't know what his future is with PlayStation. Seems like he's pretty comfortable. He's just kind of kicking it with the indies. He's very quiet. Maybe he got too powerful. Maybe Shuhei was going to take over the world and they benched him. But I think Herman Holst has shown that he is good for business. I really enjoy all of the games that Guerrilla puts out. So we'll see what happens. It is cool because, Jimmy Ryan, for all of his strengths, and guys, my God, there are a lot of strengths. But for all of Jimmy's strengths, his weakness was he was not the likable character. He was a marketing genius. He was a suit. He was a businessman. He wasn't a Shuhei. He wasn't a likable, lovable character. He was out there doing what was best for PlayStation gamers, doing what's best for business, making PlayStation great again. And he did that. So, we thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy, you've been good to us. And even those who don't respect what you did for them, they'll come to love you one day. But now we got a creative in the hot seat, and then we have someone who specializes on manufacturing. And he was quoted saying that one of the features he really wants to focus on is the trophy tracker. So that's right. We have someone at the helm that is focused on hardware, focused on services, and wants to make trophies even better. So that is huge. That really speaks to my interest. You got Herman Holst at the helm, really leading the creative side, building up the brand and the portfolio. You got this other gentleman over here making sure trophies are important. So, hey, we'll see what happens, guys. It seems to be good news on the PlayStation front. Now, on the Xbox side, things are a little more rocky. As a matter of fact, the past couple weeks, things have been a little crazy on the Xbox side. Seems like the news for the old Xbox hasn't been so favorable. And there's a lot of up and down on whether or not Call of Duty's coming to Game Pass. I want to put this out there. I have always stood by the fact that Call of Duty should not go into Game Pass. But I have also said you don't spend $69 billion or $68 billion on a company to not utilize that. Xbox's financial reports came out. Not Microsoft, Xbox's financial reports. And the only part of Xbox that is profitable is Activision King Blizzard. As a matter of fact, had it not been for them, they would have been and they would have been at a loss, guys. So, something to think about. This Game Pass thing ain't working. It ain't doing what they thought it was going to do. Games aren't selling. They just closed down some of their 4 studios. You got Tango, they got closed down, which really saddens me. It breaks my heart. I hate that. But yeah, so Xbox has been, they've had a lot of bad press, a lot of bad publicity. And then Hellblade comes out, which Hellblade, as of the time you hear this, it is out, and they had announced that their reviews weren't going to go live until an hour before launch. Now, as of the time of this recording, I have read some of the reviews. They're mostly positive. Looks like it's going to be a low 8. At the time that I read the reviews, a lot of your big companies hadn't put theirs out yet. I did watch a Mr. Matty Plays video. Mr. Matty has an Xbox podcast. He's covered Xbox over the past 5 years pretty extensively. And I feel like he's a good barometer of an Xbox fan that also isn't blinded by Game Pass. Okay, I don't often agree with him on a lot of things. As a matter of fact, our tastes are not super similar, but I do trust the fact he understands the brand and the platform. And he said this is Xbox's Order 1886. He said, as a matter of fact, he has his timer running. And as he was recording gameplay and footage, he said the first 40 minutes of Hellblade 2 is just holding the left thumbstick forward. That you don't engage in any kind of combat or anything in the first 40 minutes. This is not a problem for me. This is going to be a problem for a lot of people. People are going to say this game's boring. They're going to say it's beautiful but boring. And I've already seen that in some of the reviews. There's some 50s out there for it, but typically if you come out with a 50 on a big banger title like this, I just don't know that I can take you serious. But if it's a 5-hour game and the first hour you're in the game, you're only holding the left thumbstick. Those outlets that gave it a 10 out of 10, I can't buy them either. But it seems like it's going to land somewhere in the high 7s, low 8s. And we'll see. I'm going to play it. I've got my Series S specifically for this. So I'm going to jump into it, and this will be a deep dive. I will do a Loot Bros Patreon exclusive deep dive for Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga. I love the first game. It was my game of the year when it came out. Guys, I'm here for it. I want Hellblade to be great. I want there to be multiple. I like Ninja Theory. I like their Devil May Cry game. I loved Hellblade, so I ain't mad at it. So hopefully this one will be good. We will see. But the Xbox needs a win. 100% needs a win. Even though Xbox had a little bit of bad press this past 2 weeks, I'm hoping things will turn around. They did announce they have their Xbox showcase coming up in June. Rumors are PlayStation's going to have a showcase as well. We're going to see what the back half of the year has as far as PlayStation first party. They said that there's not going to be any new games returning from big franchises, which was very specific language, right? We know we're getting Concord this year on PlayStation. So that's going to be, I think, part of their multiplayer live service initiative. So we'll see what that turns into. But I think we're going to get some new stuff. I think we're going to get more of our second-party partnerships and third-party partnerships that we've been having. This has been a good year already for PlayStation gamers. So we will see what it looks like. But after the series of just bad interviews that Xbox has put out, they need a good showcase. I don't know what they could show to make you believe in them or believe what they say, because they've proven time and time again that they're not trustworthy. But I do think they need a good showing that's going to have some banger titles lined up. Unfortunately, they closed my favorite studio out of their entire portfolio, and that was Tango Gameworks. Looks like we're not going to get an Evil Within 3. That sucks. And originally I wanted to get on here on the podcast and just rip and just light into Xbox for that. But then I thought about it and I was like, old man yelling at clouds. Nobody cares what you have to say. So I'm just going to let it be. It is what it is. We got Evil Within 1. We got Evil Within 2. We got Hi-Fi Rush. And to be fair, I haven't finished any of them. So me sitting here and talking about how awful Xbox is for canceling games, or excuse me, canceling a studio that for games I haven't finished seems kind of hypocritical. But I do like them, and I do have these great plans to finish them one day. But I am going to put this out there, and this is for you listeners. This is for our patrons. This is for everyone. You can quote me on this one. Gears of War and Halo will come to PlayStation. I think that this is more true now than ever. Now, I've been standing by this since the first wave of rumors started spilling out. I think that Sea of Thieves doing so well on PlayStation, Hi-Fi Rush selling, even though they didn't sell enough to save the studio, which honestly and truthfully, these decisions were made before the announcement. These decisions were made before Hi-Fi Rush was put on PlayStation. Like, getting these ports, that took time. These decisions weren't made overnight. They didn't go, all right, we're closing the studio because we didn't sell 100 million units on PlayStation. Whether it didn't matter what was going to happen there. These things were already in motion to cut costs in the overall portfolio. It could have sold 10 million units and they'd have been like, oh man, this is a great hit. Unfortunately, we're still closing the studio. So I don't know how Pentiment did. Doesn't look like it charted. Doesn't look like it was in the top, whatever. And Grounded, I'm not even sure if Grounded's even out yet. And if it is out, I never followed that game. I didn't care anything for it. So I hope it does well. But I will say, all the insiders are calling this new initiative Latitude, moving games over from Xbox to PlayStation. And I think a Gears of War collection is incoming. I think we're going to get Gears 1, 2, and 3 at the very least. It would be nice to get Judgment as well. I don't think you're going to get 4 and 5 yet. If it was me, I was Phil Spencer, I would say, here, let's do the Gears collection, 1, 2, and 3. Boom. Put it out on Game Pass day one. Buy it on PlayStation. Put it on PC everywhere. I mean, shoot, put it on the Switch. Surely you can run Gears of War on the Switch. I'd put Gears of War everywhere. And then I would say, I would go ahead at the summer showcase, I would announce Gears 6. So you can get familiar with the Gears of War franchise. I mean, and even if they didn't do a collection, let's say they wanted to go ahead and do Gears 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I wouldn't do it that fast. I would do 1, 2, and 3. And then I would do 4 and 5, like over the course of the next 6 months to a year, getting geared up, no pun intended, for Gear 6. But I would personally go ahead and get these games ported over, get cross-play going, which I'm sure that's part of it, and get people playing Gears of War, get this brand new audience into Gears of War. That way, whenever you inevitably launch Gear 6, everyone is hyped. You've sold millions of... I mean, that's easy 5 million. Easy 5 million copies on PlayStation. I just don't... I think, to me, that would print money. At this point, it's a no-brainer. And then you turn around and you do the same thing for Halo. I think you get Master Chief Collection on there first. Let the PlayStation, Xbox, and the PC players play together. Then you announce that Infinite's coming over down the line. And then you announce that Halo 6 is coming out down the line. Or no, wait, Infinite is 6. Halo 7, whatever you're going to call it. At this point, who even knows? That's what I would do. I would go ahead. I mean, it sounds like all the rumors coming from the insiders and leaks coming from Xbox Studios is that these games are coming over. I say, let's go ahead and do it. This calendar year, let's sell some copies. And then that would be the injection into Xbox's arm that they need. And I'm sure there's some of the Xbox fans sitting here going, I don't know, Daryl. I'm trying to tell you this is not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Look, Sea of Thieves made it. It's happening. I promise you it's going to happen. Whether it's today, tomorrow, next year, in 10 years. Satya Nadella said he didn't believe it in exclusives. The only reason he does exclusives, and that's the guy who's over all of Microsoft, is because PlayStation does exclusives. Those were his words. The competition does it. Therefore, we're going to do it. But once they acquired Activision Blizzard King, all that is out the window. They are now too big on the Microsoft P&L to go under the radar anymore. All their games are going to go everywhere. Their services are going to go everywhere. I mean, that's what Microsoft does. There's no world where they stay exclusive any longer. And for all the Xbots that are, burning up inside, ready to send me messages like I'm wrong. Hey guys, this is kind of like be careful what you ask for territory, where it's like, yeah, we want the biggest publisher the biggest publisher out there to be owned by Xbox. Well, this is what comes with it. You can't keep Call of Duty exclusive. It costs too much. I got to be honest, I don't see how they're going to pay for Call of Duty, period, if in fact it goes on Game Pass. But hey, maybe they've got the problem is Xbox hasn't made any decisions that have really told this story that like they actually have the data to support what they're doing. So I don't understand what the deal is, because it's like if the rumors are they did not have a decision rendered on what to do with Call of Duty. Okay. And every week when newer studios, listen at me, stories break, it seems like that is more and more the case. But this week they're saying, all right, now the decision's been made and it looks like it's going to Game Pass. Okay. And I imagine that's a big decision to make, because you have to look and see where you're making your sales. You're not making your sales on Xbox, right? In general. Now, I'm not talking about Call of Duty specifically. But if you put it on Game Pass, the sales that you do make for Call of Duty on Xbox are gone now. I would imagine over 50% are going to go away. So you're either going to have to, A, increase the cost of Game Pass, or B, you're going to hope that your sales are so much better on PlayStation that you can eat the loss on your end. But the problem is you have the studio now. So like you still got to pay for the development, and there's 12 studios, I believe, that all work in the Call of Duty machine. So you can't just do one, right? Once you put Call of Duty on there, if you're going to stick to your word, you got to keep Call of Duty on there. Rumors are also this week, and we'll see what happens, that there's going to be some changes to Game Pass. I think the changes are it's going to be more expensive. I think it's going to go up to $20 a month, personally. And I think that you can't sustain $68 billion, right, without doing something drastic. So we'll see. Those are kind of my thoughts overall on this, kind of where we're at. Lots and lots of rumors, guys. Lots of crazy stuff going on. Lots of opportunity to take a stance and pick an opinion and fuss about it. Honestly, I want to see Xbox do something that completely out of pocket that I'm like not suspecting. Personally, I would say this: Call of Duty comes out in November. I can't remember what the theme was for this Call of Duty, but let's just was it Gulf War, Vietnam, or was it I don't even remember. Either way, the next Call of Duty comes out this November, and like I said on last week's episode or the week before, or whatever the last solo episode I did was, maybe it was the Patreon exclusive, I don't know. But you just put a couple Call of Duties that align with those studios in there, right? So, for example, if it's a Black Ops, you put in some old Call of Duty Black Ops games. Hey, guys, Black Ops 5 is announced for November. And in light of that, we're going to give you all the Black Ops games up to this point in Game Pass. So, it's like there's the Game Pass incentive. There's the Game Pass infusion of content. And it's Call of Duty in Game Pass. That's definitely going to put people over there. People are going to play. I mean, that to me, that would be like amazing value. And then you keep the brand new one to sell. So you've got a primer, you've got incentive, and then you're still making sales. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. And then if it's not Call of Duty, if it's Advanced Warfare, if it's Ghost 2, which rumors are, oddly enough, that Ghost 2 and Advanced Warfare are going to be revisited. Or who knows? That would be amazing. Even if all they do is button up the stories, But hey, that's kind of all rumors and speculation. That's the kind of stuff that really interests me. I'm super excited. I want to see Xbox do well. I want to see them succeed and thrive, because a thriving Xbox pushes a complacent PlayStation to do better. And that's what I want to see. Same thing goes with Nintendo. Nintendo, by the way, guys, as of this morning, they purchased a studio. And Nintendo doesn't purchase studios, but they purchased a port studios. That means we're going to get more Nintendo ports. Maybe even ports of other games to Nintendo. Who knows? That's pretty exciting too, though. So we'll see what happens, guys. Let me know in the threads. Go to the Loot Bros Facebook group, the Loot Bros Discord, guys. Yeah, and then hopefully, again, the Loot Bros YouTube. Let me know what you think, guys. What do you think? Am I full of crap? Is Xbox fine and they're going to be just fine continuing to take the L on Game Pass and forever and just milk that Microsoft money? Is Satya a man of his word? Is he going to put everything on every other platform? Is the apparent civil war we're seeing, is it true? Is Sarah Bond super unhappy that she's having to go out there and have these nothing burger answer interviews with The Verge? Is Lion Phil Spencer done? All right. Will the two gentlemen over at PlayStation be able to fill worldwide Jimmy Ryan's shoes? I doubt it, but hey, who knows? Guys, let me know. Throw some feedback in there. If you're listening to this on Patreon, leave some comments down below. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Check out. Be on the lookout for the Alone in the Dark deep dive and the Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga deep dive. And always remember here, guys, on the Loot Bros podcast, anime is for pervs.
Is the Lord. He made us in his own image, and loving formed us from the dust. Behold the glory of the one who sits upon the throne. The Lord's, yet everything in it, for out of nothing He created all place. I am the light, and everything in it, for out of nothing He created all place. So what shall we say? That men are without excuse for what's been made. God has revealed himself. Without excuse, the Lord commands the valleys be cast down, the mountains rise, the mountains rise. Are you so question good? Your doubt is wise, as if you made yourself. No man, you are right.
And they say there is
No!